I don't never want to let nobody ever feel this type of pain.
It's terrible that we have to do this. I would have never thought that I would be burying my daughter before she buries me.
She want everybody stay close and wanted a lot of things out of life. She was going for it.
It's just terrible that someone could go through that, and then to know that they probably went through it by themselves and not had me or her brother or my husband or anyone that she knew that could be there, you know, at a time like this.
So I wasn't going to stop until I find out who did this to my daughter.
Before we dive into today's story, I need y'all to do me a solid. If this content moves you, if it makes you think, if it reminds you why we gotta look out for each other, go ahead and hit that like button. And yo, if you ain't subscribed yet, what you waiting for? We drop in these deep dives every single day because these stories, they matter. Our stories matter. Now listen, what I'm about to tell y'all today, man, this one's heavy. This is about a young sister named Kania Brunson who had her whole life ahead of her. 20 years old, full of dreams, full of life. But see, sometimes the people we trust the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest. Sometimes the secrets we keep end up keeping us permanently. This is her story. And family, it's one we all need to hear. Kania Brunson was just 20 years old, you know? A daughter, a sister, a friend. The type of young woman who had big dreams and wasn't afraid to chase them. See, Kania wasn't just trying to get by, she was trying to get ahead. She had her mind set on becoming a certified nursing assistant, maybe even pushing it further to become an orthodontist. But you know how it is. Sometimes your passion calls you in a different direction. And for Kania, that passion was beauty. She enrolled herself in cosmetology school because she had this gift, this natural talent for making people feel good about themselves. Her friends used to talk about how she'd show them how to do their eyebrows just right, how to get them eyelashes looking perfect. Little touches that showed her heart, showed her generosity. Her family, man, they adored this girl.
She actually taught me how to put on eyelashes and do my eyebrows.
Her mama used to call her best friend. Think about that for a minute. Your 20-year-old daughter being your best friend. That tells you everything about the kind of person Kania was. Her stepfather, he remembered her laughter, how she could brighten up the darkest day. Her father admired her determination. And her grandmother, she described her as vibrant, magnetic, unforgettable. But see, here's the thing about light. Sometimes it attracts the wrong kind of attention. Sometimes people see your glow, and instead of appreciating it, they want to possess it, control it. And when they can't, well, that's when things get dangerous. Now, behind all that brightness, behind all them dreams and aspirations, Kania was carrying something heavy, a secret that only a few people knew about. And family, this secret would eventually cost her everything. The man's name was Sultan Sharif, 50-something years old, married, and way older than this young girl. Their connection started when she was still a teenager. Let that sink in for a minute. While she was still figuring out who she was, this grown man was already in her life. For Kania, it probably felt like attention, like validation from someone who seemed to have his life together. But for him, this was just another secret, another part of the double life he was living. See, to the world, Sultan was a husband with responsibilities. But to Kania, he was somebody she thought she could trust. The thing is, this relationship was never balanced, never equal. He had the power, he had the secrets, he had decades of experience over her. She had youth, hope, and vulnerability. And as time went on, that secrecy started weighing heavier and heavier. Then, just a week before everything went sideways, Sultan did something that showed just how deep this mess had gotten. He called Kania's mother. Yeah, you heard that right. He called her mama. In that conversation, he claimed he wanted to end things, that he didn't want to mess with her daughter anymore. But his reasoning wasn't about doing right. It wasn't about guilt or finally growing up. Nah, it was about fear, because Kania had started reaching out to his wife. She was ready to stop being a secret. She was ready to bring the truth into the light. And that made her dangerous to him. See, when you're living a double life, the truth is your biggest enemy. And Kania speaking up to his wife. That shattered all the walls Sultan had built to protect his marriage, his image, his fake life. The control he thought he had was slipping away, and instead of taking responsibility like a grown man should, he started planning something else entirely. For Kania, telling the truth probably felt like freedom, like she was finally standing up for herself, refusing to be hidden away like some shameful secret. But for Sultan, it was panic time. His wife knew, his secret was out, his world was crumbling. And when weak men feel like they're losing control, they don't get stronger, they get violent. This wasn't just about an affair anymore. This was about lies, fear, and betrayal, all colliding at once. And as that pressure built up, as Sultan felt more and more cornered, it was only a matter of time before it exploded into something nobody could take back. The tension in the air was thick, family. You could probably feel it if you were around them. One person trying to live their truth, another person desperate to keep living a lie. Something had to give. Unfortunately, it would be Kania who paid the price. September 24th, 2022, just another Saturday for most folks. But for the Brunson family, it would become the day their world changed forever. Kania left home that morning like she had 100 times before. Before she walked out, she sent her mama a text, just a simple smiley face emoji. You know, the kind of message we send without thinking twice about it. The kind that says, I'm good, I love you, I'll see you later. Except there wouldn't be a later. She was going to meet Sultan Sharif, this man she'd been tangled up with for years. What happened next is the kind of nightmare that no family should ever have to live through. Not long after she met up with him, one of Sharif's friends witnessed something that would haunt him forever. From a distance, he saw Sharif on top of Kania inside his car. She was screaming, fighting for her life, and her words cut through the air like a knife. He cut my throat. Just imagine that for a second. This young woman crying out for help, telling the world what this man was doing to her. The friend immediately called 911, frantic, trying to get help to where she was. But when the police arrived, they couldn't find them. Kania was gone. The chance to save her had slipped away. Hours later, the discovery that would break her family's heart forever was made. In an alley near Keefe Avenue and Palmer Street, they found her body. And family, what they found there, it was beyond cruel. Kania had been tied up, she had been shot, and then in a final act of evil meant to cover his tracks, Sultan had set her body on fire. This wasn't just murder, this was an attempt to erase her, to make it like she never existed. In one day, all of Kania's dreams, all of her laughter, all of her light, gone. Now when something like this happens, the police start asking questions real quick. And Sultan Sharif thought he was slick, thought he had his story straight. At first, his wife backed him up, gave him an alibi, claimed he was with her when Kania was murdered. But see, lies have a way of unraveling, especially when detectives start pulling surveillance footage and checking phone records. It didn't take long before that alibi fell apart like a house of cards. The video evidence placed him somewhere completely different, showing his wife's story for what it was, a cover-up. That became the pattern investigators kept seeing over and over again. Lies stacked on top of lies, all designed to protect Sultan from the truth he had created. He tried to act like he had nothing to do with Kania disappearing, but surveillance cameras don't lie. Witnesses don't forget what they saw. Even his own panic behavior was telling on him. According to the criminal complaint, Brunson spent the morning of September 24, 2022, with 50-year-old Sultan Sharif. MPD believes Sharif killed her later that day. The complaint says 45-year-old Johnny Hopgood helped Sharif burn Brunson's body. But Sultan wasn't working alone in this cover-up. His brother-in-law, Johnny Allen Hopgood, got pulled into this mess too. Investigators said he helped burn Kania's body, trying to destroy the evidence of what Sultan had done. From the jump, this wasn't just about violence. It was about trying to erase responsibility. Sultan had been living two lives for years, and when Kania threatened to expose that, he chose destruction over honesty. And when the crime was done, he leaned on family to help hide it, to create false stories, to patch together a cover-up that was already falling apart. For the detectives working this case, the evidence was speaking louder than all the excuses. That 911 call from Sultan's own friend, the surveillance footage showing his movements, all the contradictions in the stories people were telling, it all pointed to one person. Sultan Sharif wasn't caught up in some coincidence. He was caught by his own lies. By October 2022, investigators had gathered enough evidence to take this case to court. Prosecutors hit Sultan Sharif with the most serious charges possible: first-degree intentional homicide and mutilating a corpse. These weren't just charges, they were a statement about the brutality of what he had done to Kania. Johnny Allen Hopgood, Sultan's brother-in-law, got charged too, with mutilating a corpse and aiding a felon. What started as one man's secret life had spread into a whole circle of lies, and people willing to cover up murder. For Kania's family, seeing these charges was a step toward justice, but it didn't bring any peace. Her mother's words hit deep. It's keeping us from getting all the peace that we want. I just pray I don't never want to let nobody ever feel this type of pain. Listen to her mama's pain. It's terrible that we have to do this. I would have never thought that I will be burying my daughter before she buries me. That's a parent's worst nightmare right there. Burying your child, especially like this. Her father talked about her dreams. She wanted everybody to stay close and wanted a lot of things out of life. She was going for it. Dreams that got cut short by a man who couldn't handle the truth. And her mama, fighting through grief, made a promise: I wasn't going to stop until I find out who did this to my daughter. That's a mother's love right there, even in the deepest pain, still fighting for her baby. The family showed up to every court date, spoke her name, demanded accountability, because if they couldn't have Kania back, the least they could get was the truth laid bare and the people responsible locked up for life. 1 year after Kania's murder, her family and friends came together for a vigil. Balloons floated up into the sky, each one carrying prayers, memories, and wishes for justice. For the people who loved her, it was more than just a tribute. It was keeping her spirit alive in a world that felt empty without her. Her mother, still carrying that grief, said, "Today, I'm still feeling the same grief. Our family's still feeling the same grief." But she also talked about the importance of support. It takes a family, to get through pain like this. So it feels great to look, and you still have your friends, your sisters, your cousins, your mothers. At that vigil, people remembered her smile, her kindness, her laughter. Family remembered her dreams. Together they made a promise to keep her name alive, not just as someone who was murdered, but as a young woman whose light should never have been put out. Before Sultan ever faced a jury, his accomplice's case took a turn that left the family feeling betrayed all over again. Johnny Allen Hopgood, who was originally charged with mutilating a corpse and aiding a felon, struck a deal with prosecutors. Instead of facing those serious charges, he pled guilty to just resisting and obstructing an officer. For Kania's family, it felt like a slap in the face. This girl had been tied up, shot, and burned, and the man who helped cover it up basically walked away with a misdemeanor. But the main event was still coming. On December 11th, 2023, a Milwaukee jury found Sultan Sharif guilty of first-degree intentional homicide and mutilating a corpse as a party to a crime. The verdict was unanimous. This man was responsible for Kania's death and everything that came after. On February 21st, 2024, the court handed down the punishment. Sultan Sharif got life in prison plus 12 additional years for the mutilation charge, the harshest penalty possible under the law. This man, who once claimed to care about Kania, would never walk free again. For her family, it was justice, but it wasn't peace. The verdict didn't bring Kania back. It didn't erase the nightmares of how she died. Her mother's words still echoed. "I would have never thought that I would be burying my daughter before she buried me." What the verdict did do was make sure Sultan Sharif's name would forever be marked by guilt, and his double life was finally exposed for what it really was, a web of lies that ended in murder. Her mother described the pain simply: "She was everything to me. This is the most hurtful feeling." Her stepfather remembered her laughter. Her father spoke of her determination. All of them agreed the void left behind was unbearable. But Kania's story became more than just personal tragedy. It became part of something bigger, highlighting how secrecy, power imbalances, and abuse can come together with deadly consequences. Her case even got featured on the podcast No Tears for Black Girls, which focuses on cases like hers that often get overlooked in true crime coverage. Justice in the courtroom was delivered. Sultan Sharif will spend the rest of his life behind bars, with extra years added for the cruelty of what he did to her body. But like her family said, no sentence can ever bring her back. And so Kania's memory becomes more than just a tragedy. It becomes a call to action, to protect the vulnerable, to recognize warning signs, to stand with young women whose voices get silenced too often. She reminds us that behind every statistic is somebody's daughter, sister, best friend, someone with dreams that mattered. This has been the story of Kania Brunson. Let's remember her, not just for how she died, but for how she lived, with laughter, with ambition, with love. And let's make sure stories like hers keep getting told, because our voices, our stories, our lives matter.